To stay up to date with everything here at QCA, please subscribe to our channel and feel free to share our efforts and support our cause. Jazakumullahu khairan for watching.
The Songhai Empire from 1464 to 1591 by us. So this is a map of the Songhai Empire. So it was located in Western Africa and it covered most of the several modern countries today. So the Songhai Empire was located again in West Africa from the Niger, from current day Niger to the Atlantic Ocean. And the climate, like most of the other empires mentioned, was typically hot and dry, but we did have a lot of grasslands and rainforests. So if Ibn Battuta prefers those, we have all types of climates to offer. Songhai Empire sustained its economy by farming, mining, and fishing. We had 3 main gold mines as well. And the Songhai Empire was known as one of the greatest trading states in West Africa. So you see the pictures underneath.
Okay, so the Songhai Empire's government was an absolute monarchy, which meant they were ruled by a king. It was made up of 5 provinces, and each province was governed by a governor, and the governor was under the rule of the king. The empire was first ruled by Songhai, which is the dude right here, and then his son ruled, but he wasn't really a good ruler, so Aski Muhammad took over him, and he's right here. Everyone in the empire was Muslim because their emperor was Muslim, and he made Islam a very important thing in the empire. They also had a caste system. It wasn't harsh though, because you were able to move from status to status. Even the enslaved people were able to go to higher statuses. Okay, so landmarks and tourist attractions. As you can see, the 2 most prominent ones are the Mosque of Dijini and the town of Askia. And the Millennium Empire, talked about this before. That's because we overtook the Millennium Empire, so we also had these things. Just a fun fact, since we already know about this. The Mosque of Dijini is the biggest mud structure in the whole world.
Oh, mud structure.
Okay, culture. So the Songhai Empire's culture is a blend of West African culture and Islamic culture. I'm not really going to go into depth because we're going to talk more about those in the questions. But then this is the traditional clothing for men. This is the traditional clothing for women. And for food, they mainly use the grain millet, and they just cooked it and added like sauces and vegetables to it.
Okay, moving on to religion. So the Songhai Empire, we know you, Ibn Battuta, you're very fond of Islam and you are Muslim. We actually practice Islam all through our empire. Daily life is like based off of customs in accordance to Islam. And fun fact, criminal justice is based mainly on Islamic principles during the rule of. Okay, now education. So it was very important in the Songhai Empire. Askia the Great, as mentioned earlier, he was a great leader and he believed strongly in education. And one of the other groups mentioned Mansa Musa earlier. So Askia the Great did the same thing, and he invited scholars from all over the world, and he built universities and schools, and he gathered lots of manuscripts, and all his people studied them. And another fact is that the Songhai Empire had a keen interest in astronomy, and they constructed lots of observatories all throughout the empire. Okay, and places of worship. So they had many, many mosques. So if you ever need to pray, you can find one anywhere. Basically, it's all around. One of the main ones is the tomb of Askia. Inside there's 2 mosques, and it's like a plaza assembly space. It's located in present-day Mali, which was the Songhai Empire. And Askia the Great actually opened religious schools. He constructed mosques, and he opened up his poets from all throughout the Muslim world, which shows their liberty and tolerancy. And yeah.
Okay, so I'll be talking about the sanitation and women in Songhai. So for the sanitation, Songhai came up with a ceramic filter to see whether the quality of water improves. After experimenting with the filter for a few months, the filter turned out to be very successful and not only improve the quality of water, but also decrease childhood and maternal diseases. Lastly, this filter can be found throughout Songhai. Okay, so now I'll be talking about women. So there's actually, I have a lot of points, but I'm just gonna mention a few. So women love doing pottery, as you can see in the picture above. They also made mats during their free time. As you can see, the picture right next to pottery, that's like an example of the types of mats they made in Songhai. Another point is that if a woman receives money, she can keep it to herself and she can do whatever she wants with it. Also, young men have to respect women. And one last point I'm just going to mention is that they didn't like, usually men and women did things like separately. That's just how they kind of grew up. They kind of just like doing things by yourself, and they usually talk to their own gender. So women would usually talk to women, and men usually talk to men. And yeah.
Allahu Allah.